What's up, everybody? Welcome to Money Management channel. My name is Andrei, and today I'm gonna be doing an update on MMTLP and FINRA saga.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up.
And for today's video, guys, I have several quite interesting and definitely extremely important news. First of all, I will show you an update for the lawsuit that was just recently filed by Daniel Oxer. And I have to admit that I have an exclusive right to show you this lawsuit, and I have to admit that Daniel sent me this document in its entirety, and I have to admit, guys, that this document will literally change your mind if you think that Daniel is trying to bankrupt the next bridge hydrocarbons. On top of that, guys, I will show you some statements from Greg McCabe, and these statements are pretty much an add-on to the existing lawsuit, and I will show you what should we expect next. And before we dive deep into all of this, guys, please hit the like button for YouTube algorithm and drop me a line in the comment section if you think my videos are valuable for you. And first of all, let me show you this news. I have to say that yesterday I showed you this tweet that was written by Daniel, by your favorite SGM, where he published just 2 pages of his lawsuit, and I have to admit that I have this document in its entirety. It has 58 pages in total, and I have to admit that I didn't have enough time to read it from the very beginning till the very end. But the conclusion, and let me show you the prayer for relief, and I will give you a sneak peek on these 2 major parts, are extremely interesting. So, and let's first of all, let me show you this tweet that Daniel wrote just 6 hours ago. He said, "It occurs to me what a trap this place is. To be honest, I got what I needed, 12:09, but all the praise and bickering is a distraction. I don't want to be Twitter famous. I want peace of mind knowing I fought back. That's enough, MMTLP. Win or lose, I'm here for it. Going dark." So, guys, he filed his lawsuit, and for now he basically has some time to prepare for the next step in this fight. And definitely, guys, we shouldn't, in my opinion, we shouldn't distract him, and we shouldn't speculate on this topic, because believe me, guys, it is very difficult to be quite well known inside the MMTLP community person, and definitely with the thousands of members of MMTLP community, not all of these members like what you are doing. And guys, I can see it because I feel the same, because I make videos on a daily basis, and to be honest, some of community members think that I'm paid chill, and the only reason why I'm making these videos is just to earn tremendous amount of money, and definitely it is not the case. I explained it multiple times, but let's get back to Daniel's tweets, and let me show you this tweet that was written by the real Greg McCabe. And definitely it is not him, but it is person who is pretending, who basically has this nickname. And he wrote, "Imagine inflicting harm on the company we are all trying to save and bragging about it. You realize if NBH goes bankrupt fighting these dopey lawsuits, then nobody gets anything." And Daniel responded to this. "You should assume then that until you read the document, it is not what I am doing. The SEC and FINRA are the price. Everything else substantiates my argument. That being said, if everything is on the up and up with NBH and prior to with TRCH, then there shouldn't be any problems." And guys, I have to admit that I 100% agree with Daniel, because I have a document that proves his words. Let me show you first of all the conclusion. And guys, it is very important to understand what grounds does Daniel have, but at the same time we have to know his main idea of this entire document. And let me read you this conclusion. Under the number 291, he wrote, "The plaintiff, Sergeant Major Daniel R. Oxio, has brought this action to address systemic failures in the U.S. financial markets that have harmed retail investors through a combination of regulatory negligence, manipulative practices, and constitutional violations. At the center of this case lies FINRA's indefinite U3 trading halt on MMTLP shares, which deprived investors of access to their assets without adequate explanation or resolution. This halt exemplifies the unchecked powers of a self-regulatory organization operating without sufficient oversight, raising constitutional concerns under the separation of powers, the Appointments Clause, and the private non-delegation doctrine. Recent legal precedents, including SEC versus Sloan and Alpine Securities Corporation versus FINRA, underscore the statutory and constitutional violations inherent in FINRA's actions. A. FINRA's structural deficiencies are compounded by the failures of other regulatory entities, including the SEC and the DTCC, to fulfill their statutory duties to protect investors and ensure market integrity. These organizations failed to investigate or remedy widespread irregularities such as systemic share creation and naked short selling, which manipulated the market for MMTLP shares. The defendants' inaction enabled institutional participants to profit at the expense of retail investors, further undermining confidence in the fairness and transparency of the markets. B. The plaintiff also seeks to highlight the role of corporate leadership at Metamaterials, Torchlight Energy, and NextBridge Hydrocarbons, whose failures to address trading irregularities, reconcile shareholder discrepancies, and ensure accountability exacerbated the harm suffered by investors. These leaders neglected their fiduciary duties, misrepresented the financial prospects of their assets, and allowed discrepancies in share reconciliation to persist, leaving shareholders in a prolonged state of uncertainty and financial distress. The harm caused by these systemic failures is both significant and ongoing. Retail investors have been denied the ability to trade their shares, reconcile their holdings, or recover their investment, while institutional participants who engaged in manipulative practices remain unaccountable. The constitutional and statutory violations identified in this case are emblematic of broader governance flaws in the financial markets, which must be addressed to protect investors and maintain public confidence in the integrity of the system. D. In light of these failures, the plaintiff seeks declaratory and injunctive relief to restore fairness and transparency to the markets. This includes addressing FINRA's constitutional governance structure, enforcing statutory limits on trading halts as articulated in Sloan, and ensuring that private entities acting under delegated authority are subject to meaningful governance oversight, as emphasized the Alpine. These steps are necessary to rectify the systemic issues that have caused lasting harm to retail investors. E. This case also demands accountability for the defendants' violations of federal securities laws, antitrust statutes, and fiduciary obligations. The plaintiff requests compensatory and punitive damages to redress the financial and emotional harm suffered, as well as systemic reforms to prevent further market abuses. The harm detailed herein are not isolated incidents, but indicative of systemic vulnerabilities that require judicial intervention to safeguard the rights of all investors. F. The prolonged inaction of regulatory bodies in addressing the U3 halt and related market irregularities stands in stark contrast to the swift responses seen in other market events, such as the GameStop trading episode. This disparity highlights the need for equitable treatment of retail investors and a consistent application of regulatory oversight to uphold market integrity. Without such reforms, the systemic failures described in this case will continue to jeopardize public trust in the financial markets. And G. In bringing this action, the plaintiff seeks not only to recover damages, but also to hold the defendants accountable for their roles in enabling a scheme of market manipulation, systemic negligence, and constitutional violations. By addressing these issues, the court has the opportunity to restore fairness and transparency to the financial markets, reaffirm the constitutional principles that govern regulatory authority, and protect the rights of investors whose trust in the system has been profoundly eroded. So guys, as you can see, I quoted in its entirety the conclusion, and you can basically realize that Metamaterials board of directors of NextBridge Hydrocarbons and Greg McCabe and John Burda are not the let's say main target for this lawsuit. And in a minute I will show you how you can calculate the damages. And guys, I have to admit that the system which Daniel showed in his lawsuit is quite interesting, and I have to admit that it might work in each and every case for each and every shareholder. That is why just stay tuned. But for now, let's take a look at this tweet. Sam IM wrote this, and guys, by the way, this tweet is related to the statement of Greg McCabe, and we know that just recently Don Fis stated that he's still fighting for MMTLP community, and I have to admit that here is the part of the space call where Don Fis made this statement, and to be honest, I wasn't expecting this statement from Greg if it ever happened. So Sam IM wrote this. Don Fis gave NextBridge Hydrocarbons shareholders a message from their MMTLP CEO Greg McCabe on Thanksgiving Day. And here's the direct speech. Instead of talking about lawsuits, send them. He is ready. You can tell him challenge accepted. And you can listen to this podcast, you can listen to this part of the podcast. It is just 1 minute long, where Don Fis explained that he was talking to Greg McCabe, and Greg himself told to the entire community that he is ready for these lawsuits. That is why, guys, Daniel, with his lawsuit, is just a part for the resolution, and I think with this lawsuit we might see quite interesting new facts in our case. And guys, for now it is too early to make any assumptions what will be the outcome from this lawsuit, but for now, guys, I want to show you wait a second, I want to show you the prayer for relief, the sneak peek of the calculations, how much money you might have as the remedies if the lawsuit succeeds. And let me show you this. An order awarding compensatory damages to plaintiff in an amount to be determined at trial, including the loss of value and liquidity of plaintiff's MMTLP shares resulting from defendant's misconduct. 2. Damages arising from the suppression of share prices and trading opportunities caused by synthetic share creation, naked short selling, and improper U3 halt. 3. And this is the direct numbers of the damages. Recovery of plaintiffs' documented financial losses exceeding $245,671, along with additional losses sustained from systemic harm to market value, including the unresolved status of plaintiffs' 800 MMATQ shares filed in a valid statement of interest with the U.S. Bankruptcy Court, Nevada. And guys, this is the value that was proven by the documents, and I have to admit that you know how much money have you invested in Torchlight Energy or Metamaterials, and this is the exact number. And let me quote you further. An award of compensatory damages not less than $250,000 for emotional distress and mental anguish caused by defendants' prolonged misconduct, failure to resolve the U3 halt, and refusal to provide clarity or remedies for trading irregularities, particularly during plaintiffs' overseas deployment as Command Sergeant Major. And guys, As you can see, this number doubled as an award of compensatory damages. And I have to admit that here is another tip that it is addressed to authorities because U3 halt was implemented by FINRA. This means for now, guys, we have the value of your shares multiplied by 2, and this equals to just a couple of paragraphs of these remedies. Next one. An order awarding treble damages pursuant to the Sherman Antitrust Act and the Clayton Act for defendants anti-competitive practices, which restrained market competition, fostered monopolistic environments, and caused disproportionate harm to retail investors, including the plaintiff. This means, guys, 250 plus 250 equals to $500,000, and when you triple this amount, it will be the total amount of remedies that you might have. This means, guys, as you can see, we don't have any mention of intrinsic value of metamaterials shares, and I have to admit that I'm happy not to see this information here, because it is useless for now to rely on the intrinsic value of next bridge hydrocarbons. We have to rely on the damages that were made by the wrongdoers during the entire process of investing in the MMTLP, MMAT and next bridge hydrocarbons. And this is the exact let's say blueprint of the calculations that you might make, and you can rely on these numbers in case if this lawsuit succeeds. And definitely for now it is too early to make any conclusions, and it is up to judge to decide what type of remedies we might have, but the baseline is following. You can double your value of your shares, and then you can triple this entire amount for the Sherman Act. So probably tomorrow I will show you more details of this entire document. I will read it in its entirety and make my own conclusion. But for now, guys, I want to say huge thank you to Daniel, because of his trust in my work, because of his hard work. And yes, for now, my personal opinion is following. The only path how we can see the resolution is the litigation processes. And guys, there is no bad cases on the table. Every case might lead us to some unexpected conclusions and to some unexpected facts that again might lead us to some new cases. And for now, guys, we have a superpower of tolling the statute of limitations through the people who was and who is on duty during this period of U3 halt. And that is why, guys, I want to say huge thank you to Daniel.
And guys, let me tell you my personal story. I have a wife and 2 children aged 11 and 15, as well as a small dog. After 30 years of living in Russia near the Baikal Lake, we decided to move. Now we reside in Serbia. Although I don't own any MMTLP shares, I invest a lot of time creating daily MMTLP videos. I have been doing this every day without days off and holidays for more than 1.5 years. Now I wish to buy back this time from my family, from my children. We've agreed that I will ask the MMTLP community to support me, and I will give all the money to the children. Therefore, if you believe that I am providing useful content for you and wish to support me, you can join my Patreon account. For $5 a month, I will add your name to my list of supporters if you wish. Thank you in advance. The link you can find in the description below. So, I think that's all information that I want to provide you. If you like my video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and see you guys and girls next time. Bye!
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed.